Number one, just the general thoughts about Stanford, how the game went, and Mike's piling on, as you can heare,
I
on
know his
Anthony
style.
Brown.
I know. I've been seeing him on
So is
Twitter.
there anything besides Anthony Brown that went wrong in this game? We are everybody else
the
is
old
blameless.
clock management struck again. We haven't seen that lately. We're in close ball games going forward. I don't think the Ducks are going to blow anybody out, and clock management reared its ugly head again. I mean, what was it, a minute and a half, and you have the ball, all you got to do is score. As soon as they got that first penalty in there, I thought, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been on team Anthony Brown the whole time. If you want to talk about quarterbacks, because I know Mike loves this discussion.
Love it.
Well, and I said at the beginning of the year, I thought you had to go with the elder statesman going up to Columbus. I thought that was a given. I thought most people agreed with that. But, this year kind of feels now like a little bit maybe like that Dakota Prue Cup year with the little Justin Herbert on the bench as the freshman. And you've got the elder statesman, and then maybe just one loss can get magnified into a much, much bigger situation. Right now, through 5 games, Prue Cup had better numbers than we see with Brown. I just don't understand how, as the Ducks team, the best game of the year was Ohio State. And since then, you've played subpar talent, and you haven't played anywhere close to what you played at Ohio State. Numbers back that up. And now you're dealt with just an absolute slew of injuries now to really key players. And it's just I think it's going to get ugly a little bit here.
I do think the difference in that was, obviously, if you were watching the games, the plays were called differently for that game in comparison to how we've seen the rest of the season play out. And at the same time with that, I seen somebody mention somewhere on Twitter that Oregon will play Alabama and the score will be the same as if they played Arizona. So we play up to our competition, but we'll also play down to them. Think of the big games we've played in since Mario's been here: Wisconsin, Auburn, Ohio State. We're not getting beat bad by good teams, but we're also getting beat close by not so good teams.
Yeah, the best games for Cristobal have been the best games, have been the biggest games. The Utah Pac-12 championship game, the USC Pac-12 championship game. Besides that Auburn opener, and even that game you had in the bag until the very end as well. There's something to be said about, clock management. I think that's a big deal. There's a lot of stuff here we can unpack for a long time, but last year, everybody was on Tyler Shuck at this exact same time in the season. Looked okay early, started to stall out, looked like they weren't running the zone the right way, looked like they were getting stalled on drives and on plays. Super inconsistent. One drive would look great. One drive would look totally subpar. I think we're seeing the exact same thing we saw with Shuck last year with Brown this year. I think it's more indicative of the offense than it is the players. And I just don't know if Ty Thompson comes in and changes all of that immediately, especially as a freshman. My other big thing is, and I think that a lot of people would agree on this one, is, these coaches have a lot at stake here. They're going to play the better kid. And they're seeing practice. If Ty Thompson was doing that much better, he would have been playing by now. I just think that what you see in practice is exactly what you see in the games, which is pretty good, not great. And I don't think they've ever really played great. Even the game against Ohio State, there were times there where it wasn't like complete perfection, no way near it. So I do think they were overrated early on with the 3. Going up to a 3, I thought was a pretty bold move. And if you hadn't played Ohio State and done that game and won that game in that way, there never would have been even thought of in the top 3. No way. I think that Ohio State game did everything for you. And then you just backed it up with some supremely subpar performances.
When it comes to the Tyler Shuck, Anthony Brown thing, I think the big issue is they both had one obvious issue. Tyler Shuck could throw the ball downfield. He couldn't make reads or on the read option or stuff like that to save his life. Anthony Brown was able to make reads on the read option, but as we've seen, cannot throw the ball downfield to save his life. So it's forcing. I don't know if we could blame the offense, but in a sense, it seems like they have a quarterback who can do one thing really good and then one thing really not good. So
I don't even know how good he reads the read, because it feels like when he gets that ball, he's like, I'm taking this. I'm going to fake the snap. I'm going to fake the dive or whatever, and I'm going to go for it. That play before the halftime is going to haunt Anthony Brown for years to come. I feel like that one play CJ's up on the corner. I saw your thing. This is how I felt. CJ's got his hands up in the air like, what are we doing? It's a one-on-one. The lineman's blocking him. CJ walks into the end zone. And Mario said exactly that same thing. If you run the play the way it was designed, you get a walk-in touchdown. That means that he didn't run it the way it was designed. This could be a big week. You go into a bye week, this would be the time to do it. If you're going to do it, I just feel like all hell is going to break loose in that quarterback room if you do it. I think the whole thing, you're putting all your eggs into one basket, and that basket could be fragile too. The way the injury bug has worked, I think the quarterback room might be next to face it. They haven't got any injuries yet, but as soon as you start that deal, here we go.
Now, Ryan, the benefit to playing the veteran guy was not getting those mistakes. But when we're getting those mistakes, what is the best? So you said, there's no reason to throw Ty in there if he looks where. But if we're getting those mistakes from Brown, why not get him from Ty and let him work it through? Let him learn.
That's why I've converted over. I think that you're at the point now in the season where you have this much room to grow. You have this opportunity. He's got the higher ceiling. You know what you've got with Brown. Mm-hmm. You know exactly what you've got. You got to strike while the iron's hot. You can't afford more losses than this. Yep. And you got to put yourself in the best position going forward. If it is the freshman, then you got to pull the Band-Aid now and go with it.
Brown's older than me. He's not getting any better.
But you know what you have with Anthony? Again, I don't think you need to have the star player be the guy for this offense. I think you need to have a quarterback that's willing to hand the ball off, get out of the way, make the right read, do whatever he needs to do. I don't think you need to have the all-star to be a successful team at Oregon. I think you got a good defense. I think you've got a good running game. You got a good offensive line. They just got to have a quarterback that makes the right decision at the right time. And that you have to have a guy that's willing to be able to make that read. It felt like last year when Tyler was making that read, they weren't even giving him the option. They were just telling him it's going to be a run or it's going to be a
pull.
This thing, it felt like every single time Brown was going to keep it, and it was not the right read every time.
Yeah, I think it depends on your aspirations, because I think if you want a quarterback who just makes the right decisions, you're limited. You could win the Pac-12. Do I think you can win a championship with just a right decision maker now in modern football? Not a chance.
No, but even when we had Marcus Mariota, the Heisman Trophy winner, he still lost by 20 to Ohio State.
That was no talent on the team around him. If you have the talent and you get a guy like that, that's when you could try and get over that hump.
And if the nuts and candy and butts are, the idea is like, you have a good thing going on here, but I don't think you're ever going to have that perfect situation. And then here's what's funny. If you do have that perfect situation, fans are going to want it every single year. It's not feasible. You got to strike while the iron's hot. You get a good couple, 3 recruiting classes in here. We know about this in college football. I mean, hell, Alabama's been good the last little stretch, but they've had ups and downs too in the last 20 years. Oregon's building a successful brand. They're getting there, but man, oh man, you got to have somebody be able to pull the trigger on this thing that's not going to make those kind of errors, because those errors are going to haunt them. That's going to be that highlight alone of missing that play before halftime is going to be over and over and over and over and over in the minds of the
CJ Riddell jumping up and down.
I mean, everybody in the whole park knew it was the wrong play.
It was the right play. So there were people at first questioning the play call. It was perfectly fine play call.
We knew the play call was going to happen. I told my son that right before it happened. Here comes
the option. To the outside tackle, but it was a weak corner. Like,
it's a 99% or a 1%. You take the 1%? Come on. That was what's the wrong thing. And it could cost him the gig.
It did. Seems like it did. Momentum was killed right there. We're building up a lot of it, and it's just completely dropped off.